I'm Kim from Mosaic Tiles Australia, and this is the first tutorial in our Back to Basics series. We'll be showing you what tools you need to get started and just keeping it very basic. So it's a starting kit to get you going. I'm going to talk about the tools that we use in class and in the studio, and hopefully show you how to use them and give you a few tips if you already do have some tools and you're finding it hard to cut tiles. Probably the first essential tool we have is the round wheel cutter. These are brilliant. The wheels do turn around over time, so what happens is you'll be using this part of your blade. Over time you'll find they won't cut as cleanly, so what you do is you just get a permanent marker, pop a line here, and then you loosen it off with an Allen key. Now, all depending what brand you have, each Allen key size is different. I think I'm using a hexagonal one, but you can also get different ones. So I just want to loosen that off, turn the wheel slightly, and then retighten. And just sort of do it hand tight. Don't do it really tight. You can do it really tight and crack the actual blade. So just hand tight. So I'm just using this part now. So it's just over time, you'll just going to eventually use the whole wheel, but it will take a little bit to use. Let's get this one done. And just ever so slightly, and then just hand tight again. So now they should be all ready to go, nice and sharp. So this one here I find is essential if you're starting out. You can progress it on and get the nippers. I do find that I can use these as a nipping tool as well, but this is always a handy tool to have. So that is your nippers, and these are quite good for cutting. I use these for china. I try not to do too much cutting with my round wheel cutters on china, although you can, but I really want to keep my wheels nice and sharp for my glass that I work with. But these are also fantastic. So they're good add-on to your little kit. Also safety glasses, or if you like me and wear glasses, you'd be okay, but safety glasses are fantastic. Pair of tweezers, great to have. And I just have a nice container about this size. Ice cream container is fine, which I always usually have in front of me, and I cut my glass into that, and that saves it flying around everywhere, and that way I know where my piece has gone, and so I don't have to go and look on the carpet, and it's also a safety thing as well. So to get you started, that's probably all you really need. I'll just show you how we use the cutter on glass. In class, I've had a few people comment about they're not getting straight cuts, or just glasses shattering. Certain glass you will find, if your cutters aren't really sharp, can shatter. It's mainly vitreous. This is the culprit. It's quite a sandy tile, so you will find if your cutters aren't sharp, you may not always get a nice cut. I certainly don't use the nippers on, as I find they just shatter into all different directions. So with the vitreous, I usually cut them upside down. So this is the base with the ridges on the bottom. I just find it easier to cut against the lines. That way you can get a nice cut just straight down. Hand towards the very end of your cutters, which makes it a lot easier to cut. To get a straight cut, you need to keep your wrist straight. I usually find what happens in class is when people are putting their tiles in, they bend them to look to see where they put their glass in, and then they cut. But you need to put your wrist back, which straightens up your cutter, and that way you'll get a nice straight cut. Okay, so remember that. I know you're looking to where your tile goes, which is great, but remember to come back with your wrist, so it is all in here, keeping your cutter straight. And you should get a fairly nice straight cut. Triangles, same thing again, just diagonally in. A little bit hit and miss sometimes with vitreous, but as I said, confident, clean cutting, so slice it down. That's not too bad. You just get like a little tiny little bit on the end. But as I said, vitreous can be a little bit temperamental. That's a better one there. But a great economical tile to start out with. Also, you've got slightly longer ones. Now these ones, sometimes you might not get a straight cut. The longer and the wider the glass you have, it will be harder to get a straight line. So don't think it's the way you're cutting, it's just any longer bits of glass sometimes don't always cut as nice and straight. Same thing again, into your cutter. And then do a triangle. That's just not too bad. So these are probably my favorite glass. Anything that's flat both sides, you find they just always cut really, really nice. They just sit flat and they're just beautiful to cut. Just a word about the cutters. All depends where you buy them from. Sometimes the cutters have this little bar here. I don't know if you can see that. That's usually sitting up straight up that way. I find I turn it to the side. I don't really use it. I've never used it. I find it probably more gets in the way where tiles that I'm cutting. It is used there for tilers for gauging a certain size tile, but I find it's more of a bit of a pain. So just loosen that off, turn it to the side and retighten up. There's really no reason to have it on there, just for decoration. Alright, so now we've got the nippers. I do use these now and again, not very often. I usually just focus on my tools here, my round wheel cutters. So these ones here I use on china if I am cutting up china. You can also use these. So with these ones here, they don't go all the way in. It's just a little bit in like this here. And definitely wear your safety glasses when you're cutting. Just try and get that down there. And then you can just get little pieces like that there. So remember, don't put it all the way in, it makes it harder to cut. So just button a little bit like that. And by all means, you can certainly try and get some of the patterns out. A little bit of shaping. So that's what your nippers are really good for. You can also use them on glass, just sometimes you don't always get a very good cut either. Just all depends how sharp they are. So they're basically the tools to start with. I'm just going to show you, just get rid of all these little shafts. Right, so we will have a quick look at the other tools that we do have on hand, which is the glass cutters. So when you have had a good amount of practice with those two tools, you're looking for something a little bit more, I probably would suggest leaving this till a little bit later until you really get the hang of your cutting. We do have other tutorials on our website showing how to use these, but I'll show you what we've got you here, and then you can always have a look and just for next time when you're feeling a bit more confident, you want to give them a go. So these are the oil-fill glass cutters. So these basically cut our longer bits of stained glass. As I said, you can use these, so don't be put off with the long bits of stained glass. You can actually use your cutter to cut these down to very small pieces. So it just cuts lovely. So don't be put off if you see beautiful bigger bits of stained glass. By all means, you can cut them down to a workable size. And stained glass, I think, is probably my favourite medium to use. It's just beautiful. It doesn't fade outside, flat both sides. It's just lovely. Cuts beautiful all the time. So a little quick demo of this one for when you're feeling confident and you've mastered these tools is your glass cutter, oil fill cutter. This unscrews here at the top, and we put a little bit of fine oil in the top, only a little bit. That just helps to lubricate the wheel that's at the bottom here. So this is a central tool to use. Also, you need some running pliers. These have a curved jaw, so they help to snap the score that you make. So example, holding your cutter, need to find your comfort zone. This is my comfort zone when I'm cutting, and you want to achieve a nice score sound. Never cut too close to the end, just come in a little bit more so you've got enough room to snap your glass. And pressure down. And you should, you can see there is a line, a score line down there. So you line up your snappers. Don't put them all the way in, they just need to come in a little bit. And that way you've got enough support on this side and that side to hopefully snap it. It's beautiful. So if you're finding it hard to get that noise, you can always put your thumb on top just for a bit of pressure. You shouldn't have to push down too hard, it's just getting that noise. And never drop off the end, okay? Slow right down to the end. So that's just a quick little peek on how you can start your cutting your glass. So that's just something, other tools to look at later on when you've got the hang of all your cutting. Just a quick few ideas. Once you've got your hang of your tools, you're going to be making some nice, interesting stuff. We've just got this little butterfly here that one of the girls have done in the shop. So having these, you can use them basically to create any shape. Little slivers, these are quite good for dog fur, owl's feathers, anything. So this is to achieve that sort of shape, is you just want to cut little tiny bits on an angle. Doesn't matter, you just get lots of crazy sizes. And I think we've done the same cutting for on this kiwi. I don't know if you can see the kiwi as much, but that's got the little pieces there. So that's always a really nice one to do. So just nice little thin ones. Going back to some other different shapes. It's a really good shape to start with is doing flowers. We've got lots of flower tutorials online as well, but you can do a quick one here. So to make a basic flower, just cut your 3 corners off. You probably need about 5 to make a really nice size flower. And that's basically your start. Then you can use your cutters on an angle, which I do sometimes, just to soften those points up. That's all I'm doing. Or you can go back to using your nippers. And that just picks away those little points there. So always just sweep up after you're finished. And that would be one little petal. So next one, just take those points off. So we do have a lot of tutorials on our website, on the tutorials other side, and you'll see there's lots of different flowers. There's frangipani, there's all sorts. So doing 5 of those makes a really nice, cute little mirror center. Easy flower to do. So that's a really, really cute one. Pull it apart and we can do like a little butterfly. So we're going to do some little wings. Let's have a look. We've got some, this will be really bright, but anyway, just cut on an angle, a little bit of glass. Going to give it a scoop out of the top. So I'm putting my cutters on an angle because I do want to get a curved scoop. That can be, I'm just going to change the angle of that bottom. That way. So this is just a really, just a cute little beginner's butterfly to muck around with. So that's his top wings. Bottom wings, we're going to use the same colour. Cut it in half, make it a little bit smaller, and we're just going to soften those little edges off at the bottom and give it a scoop. So these are just really, really cute, just little tiny butterflies. Obviously I'm sure you could come up with a nicer choice of colours. And then cut is the only time I do hold them on an angle to get a scoop cut. Otherwise, as I said, keep your wrist straight. And that's a nice little butterfly. So all those in different colours would look pretty. So let's hope that's given you a few ideas to get you started. And next tutorial we'll be talking about what glues to use for what substrate. So very important. Take your time when you're cutting. Clean up, wear glasses, and enjoy it, and just keep your wrist straight. Very important. Also, when storing these, I find the easiest thing to do to keep them nice and tidy and keep the wheels from getting damaged is just a little hair tie or a handy tie. And you can even put them into those sunglass covers, the fabric ones. Pop them into there and pop them in your little toolbox, and that just keeps the wheels from getting banged around and blunt. Yeah, thank you, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you.